Merry Christmas, or depending when you're watching this, Merry Christmas. It's Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. Yay! The one day of the year where I tone it down a little bit. Just one video today, and always Christmas themed. If anyone drops any news on Christmas, it'd be weird if they did. I ain't there to answer it, ladies and gentlemen. It's Christmas, so let's do a nice quick video about the best ice-type Pokemon. Nice little video, bring a little bit of Christmas cheer, have a nice Christmas-related video, and then we'll come back to proper work tomorrow. So then, the top ice-type Pokemon. What are we talking about? Well, there are a few that I'm quite fond of that didn't make the list here. It's a weird list. No Glaceon, no Lapras, good Pokemon that everybody loves just didn't make the list. Whenever I try and do videos like this, I always have it in my head what I think is going to probably make the list. And then I sit down and actually make the list, and I'm generally miles off. Except the number one. Anyone who's been following my channel for any length of time at all, or stumbled on it by accident probably, is going to know the number one. But like we've done with these kind of lists in the past, because I'm a TCG kind of guy, we're going to look at the best card for each of these Pokemon as well. So starting off then at number 5, Eiscue. And I know that Eiscue only just came out. I know it was revealed in Sword and Shield. I know it's an incredibly new Pokemon. But it's a penguin with a block of ice on his head. How can you not think that is ridiculously awesome? I adore Eiscue. I mean, it's kind of weird that before now we had the penguin Pokemon really being Empoleon. And I love me some Empoleon. But there's just something so cool about a penguin with a block of ice on his head. It's very, very strange, but I say that with nothing but love in my heart for the ridiculousness that is Eiscue. I know a bunch of people look at this Pokemon and go, what? And I get that, but I still love it. Now, in terms of cards, we don't actually have very much. We've not had any real Sword and Shield cards other than a couple of tiny promos released outside of Japan. But the good news is that in Japan, they do actually have an Eiscue V, a new 2-prize V Pokemon. And it's not bad. It's one that we can do something with. The ability says that when you attach a water energy from your hand to this Pokemon, you heal 30 damage. And let's not forget we've got the new Frostmoth that lets you attach as many water energy from your hand as you like to your benched water Pokemon. More on that in a moment. And then free energy, 120 plus 10 to each of your opponent's bench. It's quite nice as a healing, you can't KO this kind of Pokemon. I like it. In at number 4, Regice. I love the Regice. They are pretty much the only legendary Pokemon that I ever got super excited about. And I've made no secret of the fact that Regirock is my boy. If I ever have to come down on one side or the other, in terms of picking a particularly good Reggie that I hitch my wagon to, I'm going Regirock. But that doesn't mean I don't like a bit of Regice. It's just a big block of ice. I mean, it would be a bit weird if we had the greatest ice Pokemon and we didn't use the Pokemon that was a block of ice. But in the trading card game, it's been kind of cool. The one from Celestial Storm stopped your opponent playing any other stadium cards. There was a really cool combo here with Wonder Labyrinth Prism Star, because it cannot be removed by trainer cards, so you've got to just replace the stadium, which they can't do with Icy Barrier out. And then their attacks cost 1 more energy, so you just sit there using stuff like Crushing Hammer to run them out of energy. It's a lot of fun. They're never a good combo that really worked, but a fun one that I had to play around with, and I know a bunch of other people did as well. Also, the one from Ancient Origins, got to give a quick shout out to. For 1 water 2 colourless energy, you did 70 damage, and then during your opponent's next turn, you prevented all effective attacks, including damage, from your opponent's Pokemon EX. It actually saw play with Mega Manectric, and what you would essentially do against an EX heavy deck was just accelerate energy to it nice and quickly with Mega Manectric and just lock them out of the game with Regice. It was a lot of fun, but my favourite of the Regice was the one from Legends Awakened. You could discard 2 cards from your hand and then make your opponent switch their active Pokemon. This, for me, was your Spiritomb counter. Spiritomb from Ancient Origins, when it was in the active, neither player was allowed to play trainer cards, what would now be called item cards, and your opponent was built to not be too hurt by this, and you just weren't. So I would play this in my Donphan deck as my answer to Spiritomb, and sure, if your opponent got double Spiritomb out, because they got the choice of what to put active, if your opponent got double Spiritomb, then yes, that would hurt you, but it was extremely rare your opponent could get double Spiritomb early enough, and honestly, most people didn't realise I was playing Regice in my Donphan deck. But that's on them. In at number 3, Vanilluxe. Again, how can I show you a list of the best ice Pokemon without showing you the Pokemon that is literally an ice cream? It would be wrong of me, ladies and gentlemen, so I don't intend to do that. We're going to put him on the list. And this was one of the ones from Gen 5. Gen 5, right, black and white. A bunch of people just went, but one of the Pokemon is an ice cream. And one of the Pokemon is an actual literal pile of garbage. And another one of the Pokemon is a set of keys. And Gen 5 saw a bit of backlash because there were just some weird inanimate objects that came through as Pokemon. I get that. I disagree, but I get it. Vanilluxe might be an ice cream, but he's a pretty gosh darned cool ice cream. Get it? And we had some nice Vanilluxe cards. We had the one from Next Destinies, whereby you switched your active Pokemon, and then your opponent had to switch theirs. That was fun in a whole bunch of decks. And we had the Plasma one from Plasma Freeze, whereby you flipped a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon, doing 60 damage times the number of heads. But the best one was the one from Noble Victories. This one made top 4 at the UK National Championships. It was a genuinely, legitimately great card, as weird as that is. What you did was you flipped 2 coins, 40 damage for each heads, and if either of them is heads, you get paralysis. Except you could play it with the Victini that let you reflip, so the only way you actually didn't get the paralysis here was if you flipped double tails twice, or to put it another way, if you flipped tails 4 times in a row, which was a 1 in 16 chance. Possible, but very, very unlikely. You would then play that with the Vileplume, which blocked your opponent's item cards, and then they would be paralyzed and they couldn't use items to try and switch out of it, and it was a good deck. Matthew Blower, I believe it was, managed to make top 4 at the UK National Championships with it, and that's pretty gosh darned ridiculous. In at number 2, another brand new Pokemon. Yeah, it turns out Gen 8 is my favourite generation for ice Pokemon. Who'da thunk it? It's Snom! Now, like a lot of people, when the new set came out, by the new set I mean the new generation of games, I sat down and I went, right, I'm playing through the games, what are my favourite Pokemon? And it took me a while to really figure out what my favourite Pokemon were, except for Snom. The second I saw that adorable little ball of snow and ice, which is kind of like a bug, and it's weird and I don't fully understand Snom, but I think that might be a little bit of the charm. Snom is amazing, and I love him. I don't really know what Snom is, I'll be honest with you. I've never actually looked up the description of Snom. I mean, if we have a look at the Pokedex entries, and shout out to Bulbapedia for making these easy to copy and paste in. Sword, it spits out thread imbued of a frigid sort of energy and uses it to tie its body to branches, disguising itself as an icicle while it sleeps. That's quite adorable. And Shield, it eats snow that piles up on the ground, hopefully not yellow snow. The more snow it eats, the bigger and more impressive the spikes on its back grow. That doesn't really answer our question as to what it is, and I don't really care. Snom is amazing, and I love him. Now, we have had one Snom card in the TCG, and by we, I mean Japan, and it's not good, right? It's got 50 HP, it sucks. And it does 10 damage for 1 colourless energy. It is about as unimpressive and underwhelming a card as it could get, though it is eating a snowball, which is quite cute. But it evolves into Frostmoth, and I know we're cheating a little bit here. Frostmoth I'm not a huge fan of. I kind of wish I hadn't let my Snom evolve. Although I did need to complete the Pokedex, so I don't know. But the point is, Frostmoth is really good. Like, super awesome good. As I mentioned earlier, it lets you attach as many water energy from your hand to your bench water Pokemon as you like during your turn. It's lovely. And it's already becoming one of the best decks over in Japan. It's brilliant. It sees a lot of play. And it probably will only continue to do so. Something to get excited about. But speaking of getting excited, number one's Mamoswine. If anyone is surprised about that, you didn't look at my logo, and you've probably never watched any of my videos. Which, just to be clear, that's fine. New people are always welcome. I like making new friends. Please don't leave, I love you. Mamoswine is my favourite Pokemon. And now I've even put this in, I was interviewed at a Pokemon tournament as part of the commentary team. And they asked me about my favourite Pokemon, and it's Mamoswine, and it's not even close. And it's one of those, if I have to explain it, you might never get it. I don't know what it was. I was going through the first kind of 3 generations of Pokemon, and Porygon was my favourite up to then. I still love me some Porygon. Still probably my second favourite Pokemon. No, he is my second favourite Pokemon. Porygon's awesome, but we went along, and then one day I just discovered Mamoswine. And I went, this is ridiculous, I love him. And what's really weird here is that when I saw leaks from Gold and Silver, the one Pokemon that really stood out to me was Swinub. And then I kind of forgot about this for several years, and then Mamoswine came along, and I was like, this is why I was so attracted to Swinub first time around. Mamoswine's so cool, and you get to ride him in one of the games, and that's kind of lovely, and he's actually competitive in the video game. It's just lovely. Now, what is less lovely is its viability in the Pokemon TCG. We've never had a particularly good Mamoswine. And I'm trying to point out the best card of each particular Pokemon, and I'm struggling a little bit with Mamoswine. We've got 2 that are borderline playable. Mamoswine GL had the Pokebody whereby if it's your active Pokemon, you put 1 damage counter on each active Pokemon that is not water, i.e. your opponent's unless they're water, between turns. It's alright, it's a little bit of play here and there. Probably the best one is the one from Stormfront. Now, it's not easy to get working, but 1 water, 1 fighting, 2 colourless energy parade. 60 damage, plus 10 more for each Swinub on your bench, 20 more for each Piloswine on your bench, and 40 more for each Mamoswine on your bench. You can do 180 with this attack, which at the time was over the top ridiculous. It was a really difficult attack to actually get rolling. It didn't work all that well, all that much. So some people have had fun playing around with it a little bit and got, this would almost kind of work. But it's the best we've got. It's still Mamoswine, ladies and gentlemen. And Mamoswine is the best ice Pokemon, and I believe that wholeheartedly. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to know what your favourite ice Pokemon are. And hey, it's Christmas. Let's get a whole conversation going. Tell me what presents you got today. Tell me what presents you gave today. Tell me what your Christmas lunch was like. Tell me about your favourite ice Pokemon. Tell me about your Christmas. Let's have a good old conversation in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at TheWassy. Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio, and Patreon for some bonus podcasts at patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But the most important thing, Merry Christmas. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Christmas PTCG Radio.